All right, you guys, so we are going to be learning tonight how to add and subtract mixed numbers. Now, we've learned this before, so it should be a review. Hopefully you remember it. But when adding and subtracting mixed numbers, it's no different than adding and subtracting fractions. You just have some whole numbers that you need to add or subtract as well. So the very important thing that we have is the idea of a common denominator. And so if we have the problem, 1/2, or the fractions 1/2 and 3/4, we've got to find a common denominator. One way to do it is multiply the two numbers together, in which case you would have 8 on the bottom. 2 times 4 gives you 8, so 1 times 4 gives you 4. 4 times 2 gives you 8, so 3 times 2 gives you 6. Okay, common denominator. Then if this was an addition problem, we could add, and we would have the answer 10 over 8. Okay, so finding a common denominator. Now you may be thinking you could have also made the common denominator 4, and that's right, because 2 and 4 both go into 4 evenly. So let's look at what this, how this plays out with a mixed number problem. So let's have the mixed number 2.5 plus 3 1/4. Okay, same steps as adding fractions. You're going to line it up vertically. 2.5 plus 3 1/4. Make sure you're putting the plus or minus sign so you don't get confused. You got to find a common denominator here. So our common denominator, we're just going to do it simply by multiplying the denominators together. Make it 8. We ask ourselves 2 times 4 gives me 8, so 1 times 4 gives me 4. 4 times 2 gives me 8, so 1 times 2 gives me 2. I'm going to add those up, and I'm going to get 6/8. I now need to add the whole numbers. 3 plus 2 is 5. That's the only thing that's different from adding mixed numbers and adding fractions. So I've got my answer, 5 and 6/8, but I notice that 6/8 can simplify. I can divide both those by 2, and I'm going to get 3/4. So my final answer is 5 3/4. 5 3/4. Let's try another problem. Let's go with 4 2/3 minus 2 1/5. Okay, 4 2/3 minus 2 1/5. My first step is to make sure that I line it up vertically. So I'm going to go 4 2/3. Now subtraction sign, so I keep it straight. 2 1/5. Find my common denominator. What's it going to be? Think of this in your head. You should be thinking the common denominator is 15. Okay, because 3 times 5 is 15. Now I ask myself, how did I get that? 3 times 5. So I'm going to multiply the top by 5 and get me 10. 5 times 3, multiply the top by 3. It's going to give me 3. Now I'm subtracting, remember, so 10 minus 3 is going to give me 7/15. When I'm subtracting the whole numbers, 4 minus 2 is going to give me 2. Now I look at the 7/15, and I notice that nothing divides evenly into both 7 and 15. So this answer, 2 7/15, is my final answer. Okay? Now try this problem on your own. Let me put a problem up there. You guys take a second, pause the recording, and try this problem on your own. So let's go with 4.5 plus 6 2/3. Go ahead and pause the recording, solve it, and let's see if you get it right. So your first step should have been setting the problem up vertical. So if I'm setting this problem up vertical, I've got 4 1/2, and then I add 6 2/3. I make sure to put the addition sign so I don't get confused. Now I find my common denominator. You should have gotten the common denominator of 6, because 2 times 3 is 6. How did I get 6 from 2? I multiply by 3, do the same to the top, gives me 3. How did I get 6 from 3? I multiply by 2, do the same thing to the top, and I should have 4. And so now as I add, because it's an addition problem, 3 plus 4 gives me 7, 6. 4 plus 6 is going to give me 10. 10 and 7, 6. is your answer. If you want to make it in the most simplest form, you've got to change the 7/6, which is an improper fraction, into a mixed number. And I just look and I say, okay, 6 goes into 7 once, and I've got 1 left over. So 1 and 1, 6. When I combine that with the 10 that I already had, my answer becomes 11 and 1, 6. That is my answer in the most simplest form. If you got 10 and 7, 6, that is the correct answer. You just need to simplify it. All right? So hopefully this helps. Hopefully you guys can take what you've learned about adding and subtracting fractions, apply it to this, and do well on the quiz tomorrow. All right? Good luck.